start. I would like to welcome all of you on behalf of the AFS Intercultural program for our webinar series hosted during the International Education Week. And the topic of our webinar today is the Empowering Global Leaders, how the AFS Youth Assembly can transform your students and youth. Uh, in this webinar, we are going to be discussing about the Youth Assembly, how you can be part of the Youth Assembly. Before I move to the agenda, I would like to introduce you to the speakers. My name is Ali Mustafa, and I am the United Nations representative for the AFS Intercultural Program. I am joined by the panelist and also a speaker, Hector Palencia, who is a professor at the Faculty of Social Welfare at the University of California, Los Angeles, or UCLA. On the other end, I am joined by our celebrated Youth Assembly alumni and a youth leader, Wanto Tia Wanto. And you will be hearing from all three of us. The agenda of it's going to be this is the agenda as you can see on the screen for our webinar. I'm briefly going to talk about what the AFS Youth Assembly is and how you can join Youth Assembly, what are the benefits of joining the Youth Assembly and becoming the participant of Youth Assembly, and how it will benefit you, your personality, your students, and if you're a youth or a student yourself, how it will benefit you personally and also professionally and academically, how you can maximize your potential while attending the Youth Assembly. You will also be hearing from Hector, his perspective being an educator and a professional on how Youth Assembly can benefit you and from his experience. Lastly, you will be hearing from Wanto Tia Wanto on the impact or the youth impact of AFS Youth Assembly. And Wanto will be sharing his story and his experience on attending Youth Assembly and how Youth Assembly transformed and changed his life. And in the end, if we have time, we will definitely go towards Q&A. So I will, without wasting any time, I will jump into the Youth Assembly. So AFS Youth Assembly is the annual conference that gathers about 500 to 800 young people annually in New York City each year, that comes from over 100 countries. And they're like-minded young people. When you attend the Youth Assembly, definitely there is a common connection that you are interested in the UN Sustainable Development Goals. You are interested in the international affairs, global policy making, and different topics that are related to the international affairs and sustainable development, social development, and topics related to that. It is one of the largest conference or the largest youth event that take place in the world, and our history is dated back to 1958 for the AFS Youth Assembly. AFS itself, if you don't know about the fact that AFS itself is over 100-year-old and was being founded way before United Nations during World War I and World War II to support the peace process and support the people on the front who were fighting war. And after war, AFS transformed into more in a student and youth organization where young people and students from all around the world were participating in intercultural peace processes from around the world. AFS have youth assemblies, or Youth Assembly have over 2,000 alumni that are present in 160 countries, and including the UN Secretary General's first ever envoy on youth. Ahmed was the Youth Assembly alumni and Youth Assembly ambassador. We'll talk about the projects. Young people, there are over 1,000 youth-led projects that are generated by the Youth Assembly participants in their local communities, in their countries, in their cities. When they go back home after attending the Youth Assembly, in their countries. They implement the project, they implement the learning from the youth assembly into their countries, into their communities, and then they report back to the youth assembly. Um, we also honor the projects or the programs that young people implement in their countries with some prizes, awards. As you can see, it's mentioned like they're like we do fund or award up to $10,000 for the social impact projects and the recognition of their projects on the global stage. Speaking about the demographics of the Youth Assembly, um, the demographics of Youth Assembly, it's more like 70% of the participants at the Youth Assembly are from Global South. It means like Africa, Middle East, North Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, South Asia, Asia, and the Pacific. And then you can see that we have participants from North America, means US, Canada, Mexico, Latin America, and Caribbean. And 14% of the participants are also from Europe. So when are you coming to attend? If you're coming to attend the Youth Assembly in New York, you will be meeting the diverse group of young people. You will be meeting youth from all around the world, from different languages, from different cultures, different religions, different professional background, different educational, academic background, and you got to connect with them. This connection that you make at a youth assembly in New York City lasts forever. In my personal experience, in my personal story, my whole journey being into working with United Nations and AFS and now Youth Assembly all started at the Youth Assembly. At Youth Assembly, I was the delegate of Youth Assembly in 2016 and 2017, and then I never left Youth Assembly. Now I'm working with it, but it also like significantly helped my career. So I strongly recommend you that you do, attend the youth assembly because the connections you make from all these people from the worldwide, they last forever. What do you experience at youth assembly when you are coming at youth assembly? What is going to be your experience and what you will expect? What happened at the youth assembly actually? There are keynotes talk. You can actually go on the social media of Youth Assembly to see the photos and everything that what actually happened and how young people are engaged. There are keynote talks by the expert speakers. There are thematic discussions like the panel discussions on different topics related to the current affairs or the global affairs or related to the UN sustainable development goals. There are skill workshops, the workshop that you can attend to get different skills that are really helpful. For example, there's the skill workshops that are related to how to raise funds or how to, raise fund for your project. That really personally helped me in doing so. There were career workshop that I attended when I was just a delegate. That really helped me. So all these like discussions and workshops, they take place. There are different networking events that you can be part of. There are awards that take place that you can be part of. There's special events and there's like whole uh, opportunities fair at the Youth Assembly where different organizations, different universities, and different youth stakeholders come and display their work and display the opportunities that are available for young people that you can benefit from. And they can be really beneficial for you, for your students, or your youth group, whoever is attending. So, attending Youth Assembly will give you multiple benefits that you can have from the career perspective. When you attend youth assembly, you meet people, you meet experts, you meet different speakers there, different guests there that can be really helpful. For me, my journey started the same way. I attended the youth assembly. I met some right people there that really mentored me into something that I am today. And that can really be helpful. The skills that you gain skills that you gain while attending youth assembly from different discussions, the things that you learn at the youth assembly that you may not experience anywhere else. It's like you going out of your own comfort zone or own circle into a circle that is a lot bigger with a lot of different people from different places, different communities, different experiences are there, and you get to learn from them and they got to learn from you. So these connections, both personal and professional connections and the skills that you make that are really valuable for you, it's a unique opportunity, which I don't think so that you can get anywhere else just by being at a youth assembly there that you can um, learn and gain these opportunities. So uh, next youth assembly is going to take place in New York City, August 8 to 10, from 8 to 10 next year in New York City. And to register, to join, to gain more information, you can click the link or you can go to youthassembly.org to register and attend it. So in the end, we gonna answer your questions. If you have any questions, just put it in chat or just in the question section, just mention your question and we will answer as we will get time more on how you can join, or if you want to bring a delegation, there are different things that you can be, you can join the youth assembly in different ways. If you are from a university, if you're a university professional, you can assemble a group or a delegate on becoming, and send it to the youth assembly, and that we can talk about it later. I'll share the email address and other things in chat where you can reach out if you have any other questions on sending in a delegation if you're from a university. If you want to form a delegation from your country and bring it to New York City for youth assembly, there is a whole procedure for that you can see at the youthassembly.org. And if you want to attend youth assembly in being an individual capacity, being a young person or observer, you can simply register, follow the process, pay the fee, and join it. There are different ways you can be part of it. We can discuss on that later. And now I would like to move towards would like to give the floor to Professor Hector Palencia from UCLA, so he can share about his experience being at Youth Assembly, how it can benefit you, and if you're a professional from the university and want to bring a delegation, Hector's conversation can really help you out. That Hector, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ali. Um, yes, so many things stand out, even with what Ali was saying that for me rang true in during the Youth Assembly. One is the ability of exposure and diversity that is a part of the Youth Assembly, right? Because it starts at the floor of the UN, right? So for many people, many students, that might be something that they've never experienced. But to be at the floor of the UN, to be able to express yourself, listen to others, hear about the amazing things they're doing, for me is eye-opening, right? So from a perspective from a student who's learning, that it's amazing. It's an amazing experience. Now, for the conference or the assembly itself, when it takes place, just as Ali was talking about the various different interactions, I think it are invaluable, right? I think I've been working with youth for many years. I started off as a teacher in education and have moved into working in um, districts, school districts, creating programs, especially those geared towards mental health. I've worked in areas of social justice and activism, and then now I'm here at UCLA working with social workers. And the core belief for social workers is to try to impact social justice, to move it forward. So I think there is this innate drive within most youth is wanting to make an impact, wanting to make a difference, showing some sort of relevance, right, in the world that they're living in. Because when you think about it, the world that we are in right now is your world, will be your world. A couple of years from now, I will not be here anymore, right? I will not be here anymore. And it is your world. And what is left of it is something you'll have to manage. So I think that there is an initial drive with you to try to make a change, try to do something different. This obstacle usually is, and I see this with my students, and I've seen this throughout my career, is where do I start? Who do I contact? What can I do? How can me, myself, as an individual person, actually make a change? And I think something like the Youth Assembly is pivotal for something like that, because not only does it give you the starting point, right? It gives you the information, it helps you start so that way you don't feel lost. And then, even more importantly, creates a connection, a network of people who are doing similar work or work that you never knew you were interested in or wanted to do. Um, in having it throughout the time, hearing from professionals who have been out in the world and been doing significant impacts when it deals with policy, when it deals with climate, et cetera. Hearing from them in their journey, but then also hearing from people your age, and for some of you even younger, who are doing these very small, maybe, but very impactful projects in their community, right? And these are things that we could either learn from and also help build on, because you might have information that they do not have. And the purpose of and maybe I'm speaking out of term, Ali, but I always think the purpose of all this is, how do we make this world better? How do we leave this world better off than we have it today, right? And so all of us serve a purpose. We are all pieces of a puzzle. And then in isolation, if we work just in isolation, we're just one piece, right? But it's in the connection with each other and with our work that we create a mosaic, a beautiful picture. And hopefully that's the world we want, right? Because if we're not doing it, somebody else is doing it, right? And it might not be creating the image of a world that is in collaboration with each other, that is working towards a commonality of peace and understanding and inclusion, right? And so this is something that we're hoping, we work towards. Thank you.
Thank you, Hector. Now I would like to invite 130 Wanto to share his story and experience of being
Okay,
the Youth Assembly alumni and
great. Thank you, Ali, for organizing this, and also very great opening from Hector. I think technically we've
we can
so ready. Are you hearing me?
we having a little difficulty previously hearing you.
Are you are you hearing me now?
Yes.
Okay. So what I do think about the Youth Assembly is that it is a very powerful space that is leading tremendous changes among young people, empowering them to have a voice, providing them a platform to share their experience, building exceptional network of young people from all across the world, and leading meaningful change. So over the years, Ali, you and I think attended the Youth Assembly at the same time, 2017, which was a very long time ago. And over time, the Youth Assembly has transformed to being that, premier platform for young people all around the world, in the Middle East, in Africa, in the US, in Europe, and everywhere. And every year, we create a pragmatic team to address a specific solution around the world. This year, for instance, we have public policy that could be a powerful instrument to lead multilateral changes and also empower young people to have a voice as well. So it's a great space. Over time, I've seen some of the most meaningful changes at the Youth Assembly, from ensuring that we have tents for refugees in Syria, and we ensuring also some of the amazing cross-cultural global citizen prize. We had a young Nigerian who had a project focused on boys empowerment for women rights issues in Nigeria, and we see project in Ghana, we see project in Egypt, we see project all around the world. That every year these projects empower through the Global Citizenship Prize at the Youth Assembly, which have transformed not just being an institution, but being a premier theater of global citizenship, which is now one of the most critical components of ensuring that young people not just have a voice, but they are systematically empowered to understand what leading true grassroots changes. And this for me is very unique, and I found it. I really do cherish the work of the Youth Assembly over decades, and I do believe that over years we'll continue to lead social impact in a very tremendous way that we are currently leading.
Thank you, Wancho. So Hector, I have a question from you. Like, if you were there at the Youth Assembly and your university will also be sending a delegation or of students at Youth Assembly next year in August. So, uh, what do you suggest for other universities and students from an academic perspective and academic point of view, that how it can benefit their career and education while attending the Youth Assembly?
Yeah, I think we could in academia, I think there's been a shift in some ways, right? Where we have, I think, historically remained in silos in some ways, right? For based on our academic focus, right? Or either your research or whatever, or even your department. Um, this is a way to kind of unsilo yourself. I mean, it's no longer, I think I think we live in a world today because of the advantages of technology, also that we're much more connected, yet at the same time very disconnected, right? Um, and I think the best way to do that, or the best way to engage, is to engage with the entire world. I don't think we can no longer think of policy, even at the local level, we're thinking about the implications and social impact it has externally, the vibration. I mean, I'm here in the United States. There's practically almost no national policy that we could do that does not impact the world in some ways, right? So we have to start thinking globally. And in the work that I do, especially with social work, one of the big focuses has been for quite a few years is the emphasis of focus on international social work, and this idea of how do we export, in some ways, try to continue to export not just change but social justice, right? How do we get involved and have our hands on those type of things? And so this was a really exciting opportunity for us because it gives our students the vantage point in which to be able to see that their world is not the only world that exists, right? That there's another world big beyond themselves, beyond even their understanding. Um, and the only way you do that is by getting informed, connecting, building relationships. And so that's why we're really excited to have students take part in this youth assembly and have a UCLA delegation. I mean, I would highly encourage that this is something that I think all universities should be doing, to be honest. We could think of, and some people might have different opinion, but in regards to the previous election, the last election, for me, that was a really big it impacted me greatly. And I know for those of us who live in California, it impacts us greatly in terms of our policy, in terms of the fears that we have, and what this means at the state and federal level, et cetera. Right. So the best way to do is, and what we have to do is to remain engaged, informed, active, right? If you look at, and some of these coming from different countries might not realize this, but one of the things that happened in our election is that we noticed that we were lacking votes from youth. So it was in youth did not vote, which for me is mind-boggling because the decisions that are going to be making this coming year, are going to impact them years to come, right? So there's something that we missed. And I think, and I'm not blaming youth to say, oh, they should have just done this and it's their fault. There's something that we, even as the adults, professionals, miss, that maybe we're not engaging them in the way they need to be engaged. Maybe they don't feel heard, right? So what we have to do and what we should do is connect. How do we connect at a social level and at even an academic level, so we move in a common cause, right? And I think and that cause is towards justice, is towards equity, right? And the only way we could do that is through connection and involvement. And the more people, the more academics, especially you academics that are in universities and making decisions, especially maybe some of the adults out there that are already making policy, you have a huge impact, right? So But by yourself, you're just one person, right? But connected, you're much stronger. It goes to that saying, Ali, which is nobody is stronger than all of us, right? And I think that's very true. And so that's why, for me, I would highly encourage other people, other universities, especially youth out there that are listening, to get involved. This is it. This is your world. You have to be active.
Thank you for that answer, Hector. One of the common question that I've seen people are asking about the connection of the Youth Assembly with the United Nations. Youth Assembly historically and today also has been is strongly and closely connected with the United Nations in several departments and several agencies, including having accreditation with the Economic and Social Council and UN Department of Global Communications. These are the accreditation that I'm talking about. But then when you come to the Youth Assembly, you will see we have partners like UN, International Organization of Migration. You will see people from UN Habitat that focus on the urban development. You will see people from UN Environment Program. You will see the people from UNITAR, United Nations Institute of Training and Research. So these are all the partners or the collaborators of the Youth Assembly. And if you're looking for the UN centric content, and if you are looking for the connections or your way in connecting with the United Nations, I think this is the right place, because you will be seeing different professionals in the capacity of speakers or the presenters or present or doing the fair, present at the fair, at the opportunities fair. Yes, and I see a question on the sustainable development goals. Youth Assembly prioritize UN Sustainable Development Goals across the board, and you will see so many different SDGs being addressed. There are 17 SDGs, but there are SDGs that we focus on, which you will see as we move forward into the planning of the program. You will see on the that what are the SDGs that we are discussing. For example, we have a focus on education. We have the focus on the climate change. We have the focus on the women empowerment. We have the focus on the skill development. We have the focus on the peace and building partnerships. So you can see, like right now I've just discussed 5 6 different SDGs, but when you come you see a lot of different SDGs being discussed, and you'll be part of those conversations. Once again, I will like repeat, like if you're looking to for a UN connection or meeting UN professionals and getting to know, that's not it. I mean, the you will get an opportunity to visit the UN. We celebrate the International Youth Day every year, or the sort of the opening ceremony at the United Nations. Then you get a chance to visit the UN. If you're part of different packages and programs, you will visit the UN, you will take the tour. And then also you go and visit different permanent missions and different consulates or the political missions of different countries that serve at the UN. So there is a large scale of UN engagement. There's a large scale of international relations related engagement when you are being part of the Youth Assembly. My next question is from Wanto, and it's more like Wanto. I think Wanto is not here, and let me look for Wanto. Okay, Wanto is not here at the moment. I hope he joins soon. But being a perspective of an attendee myself and also working for the Youth Assembly, I can give you my perspective on attending the Youth Assembly. It was fantastic for me. I gained the skills that I did not have. And B, I got to meet some professionals from the United Nations that really mentored me and helped me in my education. They really helped me in my professional way in my job. So they really mentored me in developing a skills that was needed for working in international affairs at the UN that now I'm successfully implementing those skills, and I'm working with the UN and different departments. I advise different departments of the United Nations. And it all began with the Youth Assembly for me, that I was there and I met the right people. I attended the right sessions, and then it was a go for me. It was a go for me. Uh, Hector, I have a question for you. In a chat, there is a question by Rodolfo Boiso Clark, and the question is, what has been your experience in addressing the prevailing adult-centric framing in education, where the educator's perspective is often prioritized over the learner's voice, which is often linked to a view of youth as inexperienced rather than possessing agency and insight.
Yeah, I mean that's been this kind of very Eurocentric view of education has been something that's been criticized. And I'll be honest, even something that my students talk about quite often. And since I am also the director of the school social work program for UCLA, my emphasis is to train students to work within the school systems, right? So this is a big concern. I have seen some changes in various different districts. The only problem is that the change tends to be from district to district, or sometimes from school to school. The the only way I think to change this kind of understanding in and we've had actually made some progress. I think within the last couple of years with institutions or such as like the implementation of like critical race theory, social emotional learning, and trauma informed practices have helped with that. The unfortunate thing now is with the new administration that we have working, or potentially coming in, has a very negative outlook on those type of reforms in some ways. So we have to I don't, it's a good question because we have to keep on working on it. You have to be more creative maybe, and even how we not just define, but um how we train the people that are going to do this work. I was just at a conference that I was speaking at a couple of weeks ago, and that was one of the big concerns. Is I presented specifically on these sort of modalities or models in education, and I was informed, or not informed, but I was told by many people from different states, "Hey, we're not even allowed to use these terminologies without our state education board coming after us," right? So that's a risk. And if this is happening in the United States, I can imagine what this looks like, what this looks like internationally. And the only thing that's actually changed is to have people of diverse backgrounds get involved in education. Because, you know, who's writing the history books? Who's developing, creating those textbooks, the ones that the children are going to be reading? Who's the one who's authorizing the modalities, the curriculum, who are those people that are doing it? So we have to find a way to diversify that. We have to find a way to get various different voices from different backgrounds, different cultures, different belief systems, right, involved in that process. So that's for me, that's the way we have to do it. Because if not, we always, as you mentioned, the kind of Eurocentric view, we'll always end up with just one view, one understanding of history, one understanding of policy, one understanding of model and focus, right? And what we're talking about, especially within the Youth Assembly, is trying to change that, right? Is having different voices, different ages, different people involved, educated, going back into their world and changing something. One of the questions I get a lot from students is regards to systems. Like, systems are such a big entity, right? So it seems like a huge ordeal to how do I change a system like education system, right? How do I change a system? It's just me. How can I change a system? Well, if you look at it from that perspective, yes, it's absolutely daunting, right? The goal is actually not to change the system because that's almost nearly impossible by yourself. But we have to change, if we could change a component of the system, if we could change one component of the system has to change. The system has to change to adapt to the new component, to the new variable. Let's say, for example, I would look at systems like a machine, like various different cogs in a machine. And the machine works because those cogs, those mechanisms all rotate in collaboration with each other. Maybe my job, and it shouldn't be to kind of just destroy the entire machine, but if I could change a cog in that system, the system has to respond to that change. And naturally, the system will change, right? It's small, it's incremental, but these things make a huge impact and can make a huge ripple effect throughout time. I mean, it's happened, right? We're not the same today as we were 20, 30, 40 years ago, right? So we just have to keep on pushing forward. And I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Hector. One of the questions that I would like to answer, and also I will invite Hector to answer after I answer that question, by Siley Sabis. And the question is, how does Youth Assembly help students cultivate essential qualities such as empathy, culture awareness, and collaboration? So when you attend Youth Assembly, uh, as mentioned before, that there are delegates from over 100 countries. You are in a room or in different rooms with 500 to 800 delegates that are from over 100 countries, who literally travel from other countries, other cities, to be uh, part of this conference called Youth Assembly and have a conversation with each other. So when you are having a conversation with a person from a country, and a country that you may not have ever heard about before, that happened to me, that at Youth Assembly every year I get to see delegates or people from the country that I've never heard that these countries exist, or never heard about those countries, or never met someone from those places or those countries. And when you meet them and you have a conversation with them and you have a lunch with them, or when you get a chance to hang out with them and attend the sessions with them, that's when your natural process of cultural awareness and empathy arises. And in my experience, I have seen so many different young people and different students that they come together to form a collaborative project, that they work on the projects. And that maybe, like, for example, there are two students there. One is from India, one is from Pakistan, and one is from Bangladesh. And they're from South Asia, neighbors of each other. They collaborate together to form a project to solve a common problem that may exist in the same region. And that is what I'm talking about: cross-border collaboration, international collaboration, cross-cultural collaboration. That's when it happens, when you meet those people and create a project together, or work together, or be in a situation together in a workshop or in a group setting there together. That's when you do it naturally. You got to know each other. Uh, there are that someone is asking about the deadline for the application. Yes, there are deadline. You gotta go on youthassembly.org to meet the deadline. Hector, if you wanna answer this question briefly.
Sure. So there's a saying that we have in our clinical world, which is a lack of empathy really simply just means a lack of understanding. That's what it means. A lack of empathy simply means a lack of understanding. And there's no better way to understand people, to get to see them, get to know them, hear their stories, understand their struggles, right? And to dispel in some ways your own preconception, your own notions of what you assume they are going through or have gone through, right? To hear directly from people and to hear it about what they've gone through, their stories, is a huge impact, right? And the second level of that is, within that there becomes an understanding, there comes a sense of empathy and compassion, right, with each other, and a sense of soul purpose. That even though we might live in different parts of the world, that we want the same thing, right? And then how can we work and collaborate with each other, right? So there's no other better way to do that, to build that. You can't gain empathy from reading a book, right? Or listen to a TikTok video or anything like that. The only way really to do it is, or I'm saying not the only way, but the best way to probably do it is to be in front of somebody and hear them, see them, not just what they say, but what they don't say, right? Listen to their words, but also their body language. And that creates a sense of bonding, a sense of attachment, and a deeper sense of understanding that I don't think you could get from pretty much anywhere else.
Thank you. So Wancho is back with us, and I want to invite Wancho again to answer one of the questions that we were answering about how Wancho. The question is, our participant asked, how does Youth Assembly help cultivate the empathy and collaboration and cultural awareness among young people? Now, you being from Liberia, you came from Liberia, you attended the Youth Assembly, and you made it big, and you're doing great. So, from your experience, the how Youth Assembly helps students cultivate the cultural diversity and empathy. Wanto.
So again, I'm glad to be back. There are a lot of areas, Ali, that that the Youth Assembly help cultivate, and I always use myself as a pillar or symbolism of change in that context. One is what we realized with the Youth Assembly is that every year Youth Assembly delegates have opportunity to grow in different roles, in different avenues, whether supporting the work as a Youth Assembly through being an ambassador or maybe elevating their own work. After being at the Youth Assembly, young people return home more inspired to lead greater change in the context of what they are already leading. The second aspect is some of the delegates that we have every year are more enthusiastic and excited to contribute to the work of the Youth Assembly, whether in cultivating the messages to their fellow young people in their country by being ambassadors for the Youth Assembly. And that we're seeing that in so many avenues every year at the Youth Assembly. Another aspect is that for me that when I attended the Youth Assembly as the first scholarship recipient in 2017, I then became an ambassador, and then I became a delegate partner, and then so the Youth Assembly keep track of everything that you do every year. So sometimes we recognize our alumni every year through the work and changes that they make. So we follow track of all of their work. So I think in this manner, there's so much potential of how we support young people through what we do. And earlier on, I stated on the Youth Assembly not just being a platform to have a dialogue or conversation, but also providing an opportunity where young people can take in actions through the Global Citizenship Prize. So at the Assembly, young people bring their solutions, they compete, they pitch their ideas for change, and the Assembly in turn provide them financial support to return home and lead that solutions. That's an incredible pillar of change. And a few days ago, I've been here representing the Youth Assembly and AFS at the Mixed Global Conference. And if you see how a lot of Saudis and young people in the Middle East are very passionate and excited about the Youth Assembly, it shows that the work we are doing is tremendous. And most of them are so excited to be back at the Assembly, and they speak so highly about how the Assembly have transformed them in so many ways and cultivated their value on what they should be able to do. So in that manner, I think it's great, and I'm very excited to see how that prospect continue to empower more young people that are leading exceptional changes, and that are part of the work that we do at the Youth Assembly.
Thank you, Wancho. So one of the questions that's been coming very commonly about the age, specifically from Nikini Glory Shay, asking about, like, the age limit is 32. So age limit is 32 because that's what usually the global age limit for the young people is. But then if you're older than 32, there is still opportunity for you to attend, and you can still attend it in a capacity of being an observer. Okay, so that's just one way that you can attend as an observer. There are other ways of attending as well, but if you are over the age of 32, and that is that, like, for example, come for the opportunities fair. And as you say that you are a youth and a student counselor, you definitely you can come and apply to be at the opportunities fair, and come at the opportunity fair, display your work, display your organization, and that way you got a chance to attend the youth assembly, not just attend, but then also be part of uh, the the content that's being there, and meet other young people and see what is going on. So there are different ways. So if you are not under the age of 32 or 32 and younger, do not get discouraged. There are spots, they're limited for being an observer, but then opportunities fair is always an entry in that you can, try to be present at the opportunities fair. That's how you can, attend. As we will be moving towards the end of the seminar, the webinar, I see that I am going to share my screen once again so we can, discuss a few more things. So all attendees who have attended the webinar will get this digital badge of acknowledging your participation at the International Education Week. And you will get an email to an invitation to accept the credential. So you can put it on your social media, you can print it, and as you have already registered, our technical team will track your attendance and will reach out to you on use it. And Dylan, if you wanna give more insight on the badge.
Hi, everybody. Yes, so the badge will be submitted to everybody that's in attendance here. We will be downloading an attendance report, and you will receive an automatic email from the Credly platform. So you should be on the lookout for that in your email inbox, and you can simply accept it. And then it is easy to embed in social media platforms such as LinkedIn. So thank you, everybody, for your questions and for your attendance.
We would love to have your feedback, and as you can give us your feedback by scanning the barcode as you can see on the screen, or just copy paste the link and sorry, if you can scan the barcode or just copy paste this link, we would love to have your feedback. And Dylan, if you can have an opportunity to paste the link of the feedback form in chat if you can, that'll be great. We would love to have your feedback. The barcode is on the screen, and also the link is there. It's a simple link on AFS typeforum.com, and you can give us your feedback by the type form. We would love to hear back from you, and we would love to see you at the AFS Youth Assembly. We have more of sessions taking place today. And if you're not registered, if you are interested in attending the sessions of the AFS webinar series for the International Education Week, there is a webinar taking place at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, fostering intercultural competence through facilitation. There were so many questions that were being asked about the intercultural understanding. For people who are interested in that, should join this. And another webinar is going to take place on Friday, November 22nd. That is related to the AFS, the work of AFS Intercultural Program. And if you'd like to host a student at your home from another part of the world, that is your opportunity to know about it. You can learn about the AFS. These are some other online opportunities for the students and young people who are interested in learning about the AFS's educational framework for active global citizenship. You can go online and watch the introductory webinar at afs.org/education, and you will get to know about this new active global citizenship framework that AFS have launched, and it's going to be great. There are other opportunities, online opportunities for all of you, for young people, educators, and students who want to be, the part of different activities and want to explore some more skill development opportunities. Here are some of the opportunities that AFS Intercultural Program provides. Global U, there is a program called Global Up, which is an amazing certification program, which we recommend that you should sign up for that. And AFS Peak, that you can also sign up for. And last but not least, thank you everyone for joining the webinar today. And you can see the email down there. You can follow us on social media, on the X, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Follow us and stay connected with us. Please sign up for AFS Youth Assembly. If you have any questions, any comment, you can send an email to us at we.learn@afs.org. And with that, I would like to invite again for the final concluding remarks to our panelists and speakers. Hector, we'll begin with you.
Great. No, thank you so much for allowing me to participate in this. This is something that I think is very important, right? The more we talk about this, I think it's sometimes when we're dealing with adversity, some of it could be professional, some of it could be very specific to yourself, right? Personal, locally within your town, your environment, your village, or whatever it might be. And sometimes the natural defense is just to kind of curl up and hide from the world, right? And the reality is those who are inflicting the pain and those who are causing the harm, that's exactly what they want you to do, right? Because the least you're involved, the more you're distracted, the more power they gain, right? So being a voice, taking charge, finding ways to create your own imprint, to have your voice heard and understood and forcefully heard, right? The more impact not only do you have for yourself, but the more avenues and ways you create for others behind you, right? So every door you kick down, every person, everything you push against creates more space for the people just like you that just wants change. So thank you. Thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you. Wanter?
Oh, okay. So thank you so much, Ali, for organizing this and for the invitation as well. I think this is really incredible. The most important part of what we do with the Youth Assembly is to continue sharing the incredible work that we are leading and the impact we are making in young people, especially providing them a platform and a space where they can be part of tremendous, work of leading change in the sustainable development goals and being a global citizen as well. And I really believe that we'll continue leading such an impact because every year when you go to a specific location and you see a specific alumni, you just get inspired. What a global world and we are building together with young people as the unique correlation. So again, the next assembly that, as you share, Ali, is in August. So we hope we can be able to see everyone that's on this call. What is very unique about this year is that the Youth Assembly application is out as soon as possible. And you have more time to prepare. You have more time to navigate through the immigration system. And you have more time to even fundraise. I think a few days ago, the Youth Assembly shared an entire holistic platform how you can be able to fundraise to be part of the Youth Assembly. And all of these resources are geared toward helping you to be part of the assembly. But we believe that all of us can be able to make this 30th celebration of the Youth Assembly a unique and a very historic one. Now, thank you so much. And I'm very excited. If you want to take this conversation beyond this space, don't hesitate to reach out. I'll be happy to support and to be able to share more concerning what we, look forward to achieve at the upcoming assembly.
Thank you, Wanter. Thank you, everyone, for attending. As I have shared the link of the feedback And the comment, please do provide us your feedback. We would love to hear back from you on how was your experience on the webinar. As one to say that like you really need to register for the Youth Assembly as soon as possible. The more sooner you will register, the more time you will have to navigate the immigration system and also the sponsorship and other scholarship that you can seek and other funding that you may need to apply for and seek those funding to attend the Youth Assembly. The more time you have, it's more better. And we're looking forward to see you at the Youth Assembly. Thank you for attending this webinar, everyone. Thank you so much, Hector. Thank you so much, Dylan, for the support. And thank you so much, Wanter, for attending. And thank you, everyone, for attending this webinar who are online. Thank you so much and have a nice day and a nice evening wherever you are in the world. Bye.
Second.